lot of things that move around in the night. We all heard the term things that go bump in the night. We wonder what's behind the door, underneath the bed, or outside just past the flashlight beam. The scary version is there's a lot of things out past the flashlight beam, and a lot of things move around at night. And you come out the next morning and you have a dead bird that's got blood on it and it's clearly been injured and has been killed by some type of violent act. What are you gonna trap for? Because you didn't see it, you don't know what it is, and it just killed one of your birds. Well, the first thing you can do is become an investigator and start figuring out exactly what happened with this bird through after death. We'll talk about that in just a second. The other thing you can do is utilize trail cameras. Setting up a really nice trail camera is an excellent way to find out what's going on with your chickens. These can be regular card or even cell activated cameras, and they're not that expensive. They can have lots of uses on a homestead or farm. So having one or two trail cameras around is not a bad idea either. But after that, if you want to know exactly what's going on with the animal, most predators have a very telltale signs of the way they kill. So for example, if the bird is shredded or pulled apart in a very aggressive or mangled way, or the bite marks are very random and kind of ugly or not pretty and rough and yucky looking, that's typically canine related, because the canine family doesn't have a way to actually hold or secure their prey. So this would be dogs, coyotes, foxes. Those type animals, they don't have a way of holding their prey like a feline. Cats, bobcats, mountain lions, things like that. Those type of animals are able to secure their prey much better, and the cuts are less sloppy and more exact. A canine kill is going to have sloppy and random slices in the bird and different parts of the bird eaten. So maybe a head gone, maybe a wing, maybe a leg, or just the entrails strewn around. A canine is going to eat very sloppy and leave sloppy kill sites behind them. Another thing about the canine is there's typically going to be digging activity. Now, because dogs and or foxes and coyotes are not able to actually get inside and feel around with things, they use their claws and paws to dig to reach inside the shelter. You have to be careful because sometimes skunks will also dig. So making sure that you're not confusing skunk activity with canine activity is important. We'll talk a little bit about the difference when we get to the skunk. The dog is typically going to dig a fairly large or wide hole and try to dig into the shelter if it can. And it's going to have to redo that hole every night if you're moving the shelter on a regular basis. The next would be a raccoon. A raccoon is going to typically eat very strategically and very strong, meaning you're going to have a bird with no leg whatsoever. The leg was ripped through the wire, the drumstick and even the thigh joint have been dislocated, dismembered, and the bone and leg and feathers are all gone and eaten because the raccoon has extremely strong jaws and can actually crush and eat the entire bone. This will help you indicate that you're dealing with a raccoon. So you'll be missing a wing, missing a leg, or something like that, and then the leg and the wing are completely gone. There is no evidence of that at all, and the bird is just dead inside the cage or shelter. This is when you're dealing with a raccoon, and you would use the coon cuff to deal with a raccoon. Another one is birds of prey. Birds of prey are typically going to start with the neck and head. Birds of prey have to eat very quickly and want to make sure they maximize the use of their kill before something else chases them off. So they're going to focus on the most valuable parts of the animal in their kill at the beginning, which is typically the brain. Owls, hawks, eagles of those natures are going to deal with the brain and the head first. That's where they're going to try to grab the animal for the kill, and it's where they're going to eat first. And they have the strongest beaks and talons to get inside the skull and actually eat the head and neck and brain area first before anything else. Owls also will start from the head and work their way forward. So any of the birds of prey are going to start at the head and work down into the body. While we're talking about birds of prey, they are completely off limits for trapping, killing, or dispatching in any way. There are things you can do to chase those off. the livestock guardian dog being one of the foremost options. Another option, if you're dealing with daytime birds of prey, is an actual scarecrow. If you can be fortunate enough and skilled enough to actually harvest a raven or crow, the actual live bird, which you can harvest in different seasons and different times, you can harvest that animal and hang it from your structure, your eggmobile, your feather net, or on a pole in and around your chicken shelter. This works as a true scarecrow and keeps other birds of prey away, because crows or ravens are one of the most smartest birds there is. Birds of prey see that crow and think, wow, that bird got trapped or killed in this area. They know to give it a wide berth and steer clear. There are some other deterrents, like hanging old CDs or spin and light reflectors in and around your chicken shelters. Those can work at times, but they're hit and miss. The livestock guardian dog or the scarecrow are two of the most effective ways that I've had to keep off birds of prey, especially owls at night with the livestock guardian dog. Skunks are very interesting. They're going to dig around the bottom of your shelter like a canine or a dog or a fox. However, they're going to eat the bird from the guts first, which seems very counterintuitive, but that's the way they work. They're typically going to eat from the rear end of the chicken first. It's the tenderest, easiest skin to tear into and allows them access to the vital organs and high energy parts of the bird the fastest and the easiest. And so skunks are going to leave bits of entrail strewn around the shelter as they've pulled out the rear end or the back end of the chicken to reach in and get the easiest accessible organs as possible. So that's how you can distinguish between a canine and a skunk digging. If you have digging activity, look at how the bird was actually killed. In the canine sense, it's going to be claw marks and big bite marks on the outside of the bird. With the skunk, you're going to have entrails drug out of the back of the bird and strewn around the shelter on the inside of the shelter, because the skunk can get inside very small holes. So if you can, they're like rabbits, and if you can get a 2 or 3 inch hole, they can scoot in. A dog or a fox is going to need a much deeper and bigger hole to access inside the shelter. That's how you tell the difference between a canine and a skunk activity. The next thing that we haven't talked much about yet is possums or opossums. They're pretty much plant and bug eating species. They eat a lot of ticks, so they're really not that bad of an animal. However, they can become overpopulated and decide that your chickens or your turkeys are an easy meal. To eliminate a problem possum, you can use some of the foot and paw traps or even a live trap. However, possums come very early in the evening. They come out early as it gets dark and come to eat first. They're very easy to pattern, and it's not hard to go out to your shelters and check them early in the evening after dark. 9:30, 10:30, even 11 o'clock at night. The possum is already there getting its dinner, and you can eliminate them with a light and a firearm. Most of the possums that we've had to dispatch over the years have been able to be taken care of in this way. They come early, they come dependably, and are pretty easy to eliminate with a light and a firearm. If you feel like you're dealing with a fox or coyote, number one, you're probably not. Number two, if you actually are, they are very difficult to trap. The tips and tricks covered in this class are probably not going to get you experienced enough or savvy enough to outfox a fox. You're going to get professional help from a trapper or even your local fish and game department to deal with a fox or coyote. They're much smarter than all the other species we've been talking about and much more difficult to trap. At that point, I would typically recommend, again, the livestock guardian dog or fencing to keep the predators out from your chickens instead of having to go through all the trouble to get them trapped. Dogs, coyotes, and foxes are very smart and very difficult to catch. And so that's not really covered in this class. And we're focusing on the smaller, more aggressive animals that you're going to deal with more often. Of all of our years trapping animals here at Polyface, we've only dealt with a fox one time. And it's been raccoons, possums, skunks, 99% of the other times. So that's what we're focusing on in this class. Another note on foxes. If you have birds that are just gone and you are counting your birds coming out of your eggmobile or your layers and you're missing birds, but there's no sign whatsoever, That is also another sign of a canine or fox activity, because those animals are going to catch the bird and carry it off to their den and feed their young pups or their families back in the burrows. Most of the time, foxes live in abandoned groundhog holes. So yet another reason to kill, eliminate, and or fill up groundhog holes that are near and around your poultry pastures. Another animal that can carry things off is typically your bird of prey. They can hit something and take it off completely. However, the bird of prey is going to leave a fairly large poof of feathers because it's a violent kill. When they come out of the sky and hit the animal, that's when there are going to be a lot of feathers released. A fox is going to come in at night, grab the bird quickly and quietly, and slip off, leaving very little to no feathers. So if birds are gone, you're going to try to investigate whether they're feathers or not. No feathers typically is going to lead toward foxes and coyotes. A pile of feathers is going to lead toward a bird of prey. And that's how you can tell the difference from birds disappearing between birds of prey and your foxes, coyotes, or canines. Once you've set your traps, it is paramount that you check them every day. Most state laws require that you check your traps at least every day anyway, but it's also good humane practice. If an animal happens to be stuck in any of these traps and is not killed, you want to eliminate it as quickly as possible. Or if it's in one of the live traps, you want to take it and replace it or dispatch it as quickly as possible. We don't want even wild animals that are giving us problems in our for-profit business to suffer unnecessarily. Some states and times of year require that you mark all of your traps with your name, address, and phone number. Again, check your local laws and listings to make sure that you comply with all the necessary regulations on traps and trapping.